Yep. Now there's the CJ player effort at the top left, at the top right. Oh, did I just say effort? Oh, ruffle, I was just kidding. I meant the CJ player Skyhigh, and at the top right is the Fox player Baby. Now, will we see a fast expand on this map? I think it could be pretty probable. Fast expansion is even more appealing when it's on a map that has your main expo, or I should say natural expo, covered so that you don't actually have to go out on a limb so much when you move out there. Since it's a 4-player map, I don't think we're going to see any type of proxy rush. It's always possible, though. Depot put back there. Now, here's another thing that you might learn a little bit from, but a lot of times pro gamers put buildings behind the minerals so that when their workers are saturated at the mineral patches, occasionally the AI bugs the workers and they move around to the back in an attempt to find a new mineral patch. Putting buildings behind the minerals like that keeps the workers forced onto the correct side, the side closer to the command center. It's also effective because many times players, when they have a scouting unit, will in fact zip around behind those mineral patches and go in circles, making it difficult to catch up to them. But whoa, we've seen a barracks in the middle of the map. Could be a very aggressive rush. It could be the one barracks technique, which we see Terrans. It was more popular about 5 years ago, but people still do it today. Basically, you can make about 2 to 3 Marines lift off and rush the Terran player who's probably not prepared to meet that many Marines as early on, and then he can lift the barracks off and, of course, scout his opponent a little bit quicker. At the same time, if a player manages to spot the barracks in the middle of the map and kill the SCV producing it, it could be pretty bad. However, I think in this case it's smart because good Terran players do not generally scout that early in Terran versus Terran, and not to mention, I think it could prove to be effective because I'm questioning how used to pressure Baby is, being a baby and all, and not really prepared for rushes maybe while he's on TV. Although from talking to a lot of the other players, they say that he doesn't really seem to get that nervous or crack under a lot of pressure, but we'll find out. It's not all about confidence, it's also about experience. Here's an SCV moving, though, to the center. Scouting in cross spots to detect this exact thing, and you can suddenly see the reaction of the Fox team. He's crossed past that barracks in the middle, and I believe the response will be to make enough Marines to hold us off, possibly make one bunker, but I don't know. The bunker might be a blunder because it would be 100 minerals thrown away. Factory almost finishing for our player Skyhigh. I am surprised that Baby did not put those Marines closer to his entrance. He could have stopped that scouting SCV, although I doubt the scouting SCV will stay alive for too long. Add-on, not a vulture being pumped for Skyhigh. Barracks now lifting, and the vulture is actually out. This could be very dangerous if the vulture does come out in time to rush his opponent, but instead he's going to use that vulture for support, take out the scouting SCV. Might have been a little bit of a blunder to do that, I'm not sure. And here comes the scouting SCV. Did manage to slip in there. I do believe the positioning of those Marines was also pretty bad. Marine has now been taken out. Marines taken out. The SCV. Since both players were forced to make a lot of Marines early, I don't think there's going to be too much effectiveness with these scouting barracks for either of them. And in fact, he will be getting the Wraith out. Fast command center though for Baby, and an armory, so no starport early on. I do feel to some extent that this should counter what Skyhigh is doing. However, this rush that's all of a sudden about to ensue could prove to be pretty dangerous if it does manage to break the initial entrance. And we can see Baby possibly preparing for this rush by moving his army over to the high ground nearby the entrance. And 2 Marines, 2 SCVs, and a tank against what I believe is 4 Marines. A Wraith in there too. A tank that now has siege mode and 4 SCVs. But sieging up prematurely is not the way to go. He could possibly use this Wraith to harass some SCVs. However, Skyhigh is, I'm not sure if he's backing off or he just doesn't know what he wants. He could maybe even get this barracks. Here comes a few siege tanks moving in here. If he does get positioned over on this expansion within range of the siege tanks, it could be very difficult for Baby to recover. Skyhigh is still not expanded yet. He has to do damage quickly, and I do believe this rush could prove to be very effective considering the positioning of these units, of the buildings. The barracks over here now taking some heavy fire. And the Goliath's really unable to move in here. Now he's going to go in here with some Wraiths. If he can get this tank, it could prove to be bad news for the Terran. And yes, he has, and he's going to get out in time. Meanwhile, more pressure being applied to this expansion. And if Baby does not deal with this, Skyhigh is going to be doing great. He's going to take a bunch of SCVs, the right decision too. But Marines and SCVs are going to have to try to take these SCVs and Goliaths and the Vulture on themselves. Here they come now. But Siege Tank dealing a lot of damage, and it looks like he will not, in fact, be able to repair that tank. It will be taken out. If he can micro it, though, and keep it alive long enough, he could just move it right back over there and go back into siege mode. No, he will not, though, because the tank and a Goliath have entered the battle as well. Skyhigh's siege point did not prove to be quite as effective as he probably would have hoped. Now he's very behind, has to get a command center up. We have an offensive opening and a defensive opening, a micro opening and a macro opening. Oh, the Goliath did not even know what hit him. He was just so interested in taking the barracks out. Now he is managing. You know, one good thing about getting the Wraith and the tank with siege mode combination is that you can take off a tank within 2 siege tanks hit, and it hits in, I believe, 2 to 1 Wraith hits. Kind of giving you a little bit of an edge here. And look at this, he's managed to sneak around to the other side. And now Terran may be contained, and with no Goliath there, you can't take out these tanks. The offensiveness has not yet ended. The Wraiths, the Wraiths are taking on this tank that SCVs are repairing. The position of that factory is bad, because if the Goliath pops out, it could be killed the moment it appears. And now it does seem as though our player, Skyhigh, is actually beginning to get more of an advantage than we had initially expected. Baby not really dealing with what's going on at this expansion. And yes, this is going to be even more difficult now for Terran to be effective in any way. And when I say Terran, I am in fact talking about Baby. Baby now getting pushed into a corner and could be losing this very quickly. CJ really coming out on top here. If he has to lift that factory off, he will lose the add-on, and making siege tanks it'll be that much more difficult. One Wraith is out. It looks like if he can drive this Wraith out and keep on pumping Wraiths, he'll be in great shape. He might also want to make a tower or turret there next to those tanks. The barracks may be taken out soon as well. Drawing the siege tank fire with those SCVs. Baby may be able to retake this high ground. It's not clear. And he does. However, expansion not in great shape, and I do believe that right now Skyhigh has actually gained the advantage and is now upgrading cloaked Wraiths, knowing that his opponent will not have an academy in time. And in fact, he's already finished cloaked. And with no scanner, it's going to be so difficult for Terran to come up with anything. He does not even have an engineering bay, and now this tank will go down. The command center may very well burn to the ground, and I do believe it will. Once the siege tank gets in siege mode, he'll be forced to lift or just let it die, and either way, I think it's not good. Here comes the SCVs, and I think we're going to see a GG from Baby pretty soon. And look at this, GG. Baby has said good game. He has slain the Baby. And Baby looks a little bit disappointed, but it was a pretty good game back there. It looks like he's a little bit in shock at what happened. Skyhigh got out of that booth pretty fast, but probably relieved that the game turned out to be so effective. Now CJ up 2-0, and the pressure is really on Fox. The next game we have coming up is going to be a 2-on-2 on none other than Hunters. That's right, I said it. I believe they have a modified version of Hunters, and no, not a bad modified one like Zero Flutter or BGH, a good modified one in the sense that it is balanced, and we are going to see a very exciting 2-on-2 with a Protoss-Zerg matchup. And wow, talk about exciting games down here. It's a real thrill to be down here casting to all of you.